And transcription is beginning, recording is beginning, and there we go. So welcome everybody. We are live to the final live episode of MidDay Café. We're going to be doing a lot more on demand coming down the pike, but more on that later. For now though, today I'm very excited. We're going to be having two accessibility gurus from Microsoft who are here today. Yes, they are. And they're also just awesome individuals. So I'm going to have you introduce yourselves one at a time. So Sue, you're on top of my screen right now. So you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Sue Vencil, Microsoft Teams Technical Specialist. I've been here a little over a year now after being at Cisco for a very, very long time. That's it for me.
Awesome. And Erica?
Hi, I'm Erica Gorman. I am a Microsoft Customer Success Manager focused on Teams. I've been with Microsoft for 7 years. My father worked in accessibility his whole life, and my mom was Director of Guidance and Special Education. So accessibility has always been top of mind and near and dear to my heart. So this is one of the reasons why Sue and I put this presentation together.
Awesome. So these two are going to be talking accessibility for those who are attending live. And again, this is our final live MidDay Cafe. We'll be doing a lot more content with MidDay, but it'll all be on demand. Just some housekeeping. You'll note that you're on mute, both video and audio. That's for a reason so that they can present. But if you have questions, please post them in the chat, and we'll either tee those up or even ask you to, we'll bring you off mute and allow you to ask. We'd like to keep that interactive. Our speaker certainly would. So feel free to go ahead and do so. In the meantime, though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my video off so I'm not a distraction, and that you can focus on the wonderful content and things that both Sue and Erica are going to be presenting. And with that, I turn it over to you, ladies. Take it away.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and present in PowerPoint Live. If you have any accessibility needs immediately and you need help, please put something in the chat and we'll address that right at the beginning of our presentation. So before we begin learning about Microsoft accessibility solutions, I want to talk a little bit about accessibility, disability, and the power in creating inclusive experiences for everyone. There are, we estimate, over 1 billion people living with disabilities, and many of them, unfortunately, don't fully participate in our economy or society. Accessible technology can allow them to fully participate. And not all disabilities are immediately apparent. In fact, 70% of all disabilities are invisible to the eye. They can be permanent, they can be temporary, or they can be situational. This likely affects someone you work with, either customers or coworkers. And by making things accessible, it benefits everyone. The cost of failing to create accessible experience is that our content and our products exclude people. And that's certainly something that we don't want. By 2030, we estimate that more than 2 billion people will need some type of assistive technology. So let's look at how we think about disability. For most of the 20th century, disability was defined as a result of an individual's condition. So my condition, your condition, it was the person that had the problem. But disability really happens at the intersection between the person and their environment. So if you're an architect and you're designing a building, you may have historically designed that building with front stairs leading up to that building. So you've now created an environment that is inaccessible. So instead, thinking about creating a building that has a ramp instead of stairs and making that more inclusive to everyone. And so, at Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And our CEO, Satya Nadella, says accessibility is not a bolt-on. It's something that must be built into every product from the ground up. So as we are creating and developing new products and modifying existing products, accessibility is not something we're just going to throw on at the end. It's something that we are constantly thinking about and designing into our products. So Sue and I felt a really strong need to create this deck. There's so many different technologies at Microsoft. Today we're going to cover Windows 11, Office, and Teams, and the accessibility features and functionalities inside of each one of those. And to make this deck usable for our customers, we divided it into 4 different sections, so that afterwards we can provide this deck and they can say, oh, an employee came to me, they have a mobility challenge, and I can go right to that section on mobility features and functionalities, or hearing, or vision, or neurodiversity. So you'll see these symbols at the top of each of the slides in the right-hand corner to help you understand. And a lot of these technologies support multiple. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sue.
Microsoft has been doing this a really long time. That's my first really, that speaker coach now too. Speaker coach is going to catch as a filler word. I'll try to be better. I want to show this slide because Microsoft started in 1994 with sticky keys. So sticky keys would be, for example, the challenge that it solves. If a person had one arm, it's really hard to do a Control-Alt-Delete. And so we started with sticky keys, and then we've been going ever since, and we still haven't stopped. And it's such a focus embedded in everything that we do. Now, that was our last intro slide. Here, we're diving into some of the specifics. So I'm going to start with Windows 11, and I want to talk about the vision accessibility features. Feel free to look away from the presentation. If you want to try some of these features as we show them, in your search, type for settings. Once you bring up settings, click on accessibility, and then it will bring you to the screen that I'm showing you right now. Through settings, you can adjust your text size. You can adjust visual effects. An example would be you can always show scroll bars. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but scroll bars can disappear. And then you bring your mouse and they reappear. I know for myself, I have it so that scroll bars don't disappear. I got rid of all the transparency effects. Your mouse pointer, I have my actual pointer on my desktop is large and bright yellow. It helps me see it a lot faster. I changed my text cursor size. There's also a magnifier, which we're going to talk about that. I think it's on the next slide, if I remember correctly. I know we're going to go into contrast. But we do have a slide where we'll talk about being able to zoom in and zoom out and the easy ways to do that. And then color filters can be turned on and off, and contrast themes. So contrast themes, these are all features that help with low or no vision. Contrast themes, we've added several. I'm going to go ahead and jump to the next slide. And here there are 4 different ones. So with a single click, you can automatically change and find out which one works best for you. We have a video on this slide. There's no audio that goes along with it, but it's scrolling through the 4 different options now. There's aquatic, there's desert, there's dark, and then we also have night sky. All of this is to help those people with low vision so that what they need to see sticks out more for them. And that is the contrast themes. And this is new to Microsoft 11. PowerPoint Live also has this feature, which we're using PowerPoint Live right now. So if you look down, you'll see the little ellipse, and then you will see view slides in high contrast, and it's on or off. Turn it on, see what happens. But that's built into PowerPoint Live. Here's where this is helpful. If I have low vision and Erica's sharing a deck, I can make it so that the view works better for me. And that's where this is very powerful. So that's your contrast options. We have another one that I'm actually going to do a quick demo for you. We have a couple different ways, and we'll talk about them today, where you can use dictate or speech to text. The one I'm going to show you right now is Windows H. I'm going to put my mouse in the chat box. I'm going to hit Windows H, and I'm going to send you all a message just using my voice. Listen. This is my message, and I'm using Windows H. And then I hit send, although you know what, it disappeared for me. Hold on, let's do it again. It's fun. This is my message, and I'm using Windows H. Now hit send. All right, so I was able to do that just using my voice. And we'll talk about another feature as well. The dictate button, we'll talk about that in another slide. But I think Windows H is handy for everybody. If I am having to brainstorm and put a bunch of thoughts on a piece of paper, I can use Windows H and just start talking and get my ideas on paper. It will give me a great start to my project. Or I can use it to actually do different actions. So Windows H is super easy. And again, we'll show you another way to do dictation as well. This is just one of your options. Skip through the video. All right. Here's the other option. So inside of Outlook, Word, OneNote, PowerPoint, we also have the built-in speech text to capabilities, and you can use voice commands. Do you see this? The icon looks like this. It's got the little microphone. It says dictate using your voice. This icon is in the same location in every single one of these apps. And we want the consistency. We shouldn't have to learn how to take advantage of these features a different way every app. So this is about consistency. When you use dictate, you have additional commands like new line, and then you talk. Delete, and it will remove the last line you dictate. You can also do stop dictation, and it will stop typing what you're saying, or full stop, or you can say period, question mark. True story, I use this a lot on my phone as well. And one day I was leaving a voicemail message and I said, hey, this is Sue calling, period. I hope you're having a great day, exclamation point, but it was a voicemail. You just kind of get used to saying your pronunciations. You know, habits are hard to break, I guess. So again, this is dictate. It's another way to turn voice into text. Office Lens, the #1 most underutilized app in the entire suite as far as I'm concerned. I love it. Side use case that everyone can benefit from, Office Lens, and then I'm going to narrate this video you're going to see in a minute. Office Lens is a mobile app for those people that have had to print a contract, sign it, and then scan it and send it back. Office Lens allows you to take a picture of that document, and then right from the picture, you turn it into a PDF. That's a very common use case, but what I'm going to show you is even cooler. I'm going to go ahead and hit play on this video. What you're going to see, I'm moving my phone around. There are different things that you can do. There are different actions. I can have it so that it reads a dot. Right now, I'm going to show you where it's capturing the printed text. I'm now going to edit it right here. And what I want it to do is read it out loud. So it's extracting the data. And then you're going to see a screen that looks familiar. It's a screen that we're going to talk about later. And here's what you'll hear.
Instructions. 1. In a small bowl, whisk together the balsamic vinegar, olive oil,
And then you can adjust the speed.
and kosher salt.
And you can also change the voice from female to male.
Gently twist off or cut off the stems.
And
Use a spoon to gently scrape.
this is using Immersive Reader in the back, and we will talk about that again in a little bit. But what we just did, let's picture somebody with low vision, no vision in a restaurant. They can take a picture of a menu and have it read to them so that they're able to view the menu and make their selection accordingly. So that's Office Lens. It's a mobile app. Download it today. Erica?
So accessibility checker in my book is the most powerful tool, and it's something that I am now using every day with everything I do. What accessibility checker does is allows you in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, Visio to have the program look at your document or whatever you're creating and analyze the material and provide recommendations right alongside the document. There is alternative text that when you have a picture, it will ask you to define what that picture is. And we also will make recommendations using artificial intelligence so that somebody with a screen reader knows what the picture is that they're looking at. There's color contrast detection. So people with low vision, like I notice, we tend to use light blue at Microsoft a lot. And it says people with low vision are having trouble seeing that. So I darkened up the blue. You can also note objects are decorative. And you can set the order that things are read in so that it makes sense for somebody who is using a screen reader. So how do you get into Accessibility Checker? Two different ways. One, at the bottom of your document, you should see accessibility, and it will either say investigate or it will say good. If you click on that, it will open up Accessibility Checker. The other way to get into that is in your ribbon at the top, whether you're in Word or OneNote or Outlook, is to click on the review and look at that ribbon, and you will find check accessibility in there. It will open up a tile on the right-hand side and let you know what your errors are and allow you to go through one by one and correct each and every one of them. So we use this extensively when we were preparing this presentation. We followed all of the guidelines to make PowerPoint accessible. We used Accessibility Checker. We put all text or alternative text. We did all of these things to make this deck so that when we send it out, everybody can access it and understand and know what tools are available to them. All right. So more inside of Outlook, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint in that same ribbon that we just talked about, the review, is another read aloud capability. So Sue talked to you about Windows key H to dictate. Now you have the ability to read back, and you saw Immersive Reader, right? And this is read aloud. You also have the ability to translate text. So if English is not your native language, we might consider that an accessibility issue, right? Where IT is predominantly English language based. And if that's not your native language, you may be missing words. So translation is available for you as well. All right, here's another one of these. Try this at home. There's a couple of different ways that you can enlarge and shrink. So you can use the Windows key and the plus or minus. You can use the Control key and the plus or minus or the scroll bar. And when you are in Teams, not in the meeting, but when you are in Teams, you can click on the three ellipses at the top of the screen and you will see zoom. And you will be able to incrementally zoom, increase or decrease. So give that a try at home and let us know in the chat how it's working for you.
In my old age, I find myself using this more and more often. And here's what I appreciate. I don't have to stop an entire meeting and ask someone to zoom in. I can just do it for myself and not let everyone know I'm getting old. So I highly recommend it. And like Erica said, I use my scroll wheel. So I'll hold down the control and then I can just use my scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Oh, this is me, right?
Yes.
Game changer, Immersive Reader. Mike G was already mentioning about how much he loves Immersive Reader. I discovered it when I first started working here at Microsoft, even though it's been around a long time. Immersive Reader for me comes in handy when I'm studying, and all of my classes are all online. No surprise there. What happens for me is that if I don't have a way to highlight a word, I will read the same sentence over and over again, and it never sticks in my head, and I get frustrated. Immersive Reader allows me to do a couple things. When I hit play, there'll be some audio here, but right now we're going to show you Immersive Reader inside of a Teams chat. I'm going to hit play, and actually, I think that's all this video shows. So when I hit play, it will actually read it out loud to me, but it does even more than that. If I'm on a web page, and I don't know if I have another slide on this. I don't think I do. If I'm on a web page, I can make it so that Immersive Reader highlights one sentence at a time, or it can highlight 3 sentences at a time. I can also adjust the speed. Speed for me is not the problem. I like to listen to it fast. For me, it's a cognitive challenge. It's a visual challenge. I can also, in schools, it's pretty handy because you can also make it so it highlights nouns in one color, adjectives in another color, and you have multiple options for changing the voice. As you can see on the bullet on this slide, there are over 30 languages. And it has helped me increase my reading speed because I'm not reading the same sentence over and over and over again. So of course, you're going to be able to read that much faster. What I'm showing you right now is available in OneNote, Word, Outlook, Teams, and also in your Edge browser as well. I love it. Game changer, and game changer for Mike. All right, now we're going to go into no hearing. And I want to go back to talking about Windows 11. Just like before, go hit your magnifying glass, type settings, click on settings, and then you hit accessibility. From there, you'll see an option for audio, and that's what will bring you to the screen that we're showing you right now. There are different settings that you can change, and I'm going to be honest, as Eric and I have just taken a leap into accessibility, it's crazy how many things I never thought of before. So one of the things is, for example, the audio. You can change the type of audio, whether it's mono or stereo coming from 2 different places. You have lots of options for different types of flashing, whether you want your whole screen to flash, just an app to flash, just your taskbar to flash. Chimes. If you had the same chime for every action on your laptop, it gets really hard to tell what that chime's for. So you have so many features where you can have a certain sound for a calendar invite or a calendar meeting reminder. You have a different chime for when you receive a new message, a new chat, and all of that is configurable inside of accessibility under audio. And then there's sound themes that are for different various actions, like what I was talking about. Here they use calendar, reminder, mail, or if a program closes, that will give you a specific sound, and just a whole slew more that I never thought of before until I saw it in Windows 11. Live captions. I have a little bit of issues. Sometimes I slip and I call it closed captions. This is live captions. This is Microsoft's version, and we have it built inside of Teams. So if you look right up there, am I pointing to it, Erica? No? Am I pointing to it now?
So, yeah, better. Yes.
Okay. So if you look right up there, you'll
Like the
see the
Brady
ellipse. Right. Hopefully you're with me at home and you're giving it a shot. But from there, you can turn on live captions. And Erica's going to share with you a couple use cases for everybody where this is actually really come in handy for both of us. And she will share that. You can change the spoken language. So if the person talking is Spanish, you can change it to Spanish. And there are a bunch of options to choose from. And then transcription, and Erica's also going to talk about transcription. It's a little different from live captions, and she's going to explain that to you. Transcription is over on the right. Mike turned it on at the beginning, so you can see that, and you'll be able to see that you can go back in time and see what we said at the beginning of the meeting. You also are notified when transcriptions starts, and as you can tell, when Mike started it, it started it for everybody. Now Erica's going to explain the difference between live caption and transcription.
So when these features first came out, I think there was a lot of confusion, and so I really dug into it, like when to use live caption versus when to use transcription. Live captions is just for me or just for you. You are the only, when you turn on, you are the only person that can see it. And as soon as, you know, a few sentences are spoken, the ones before it disappear. Transcription is for everyone. Everyone can see it. Every single person on this call can go right now and look at the transcription. At the end of this call, that will be saved and you can go back and reference it. And while I'm on the what's for me versus what's for everyone, there's also pin. So you can hover over someone's picture, for instance, right? So hover over Sue's picture, you see the 3 ellipses, you can choose pin and it pins it just for you. If we choose spotlight, it's for everyone and everyone can see it. And you can pin up to 7 different people simultaneously. So where this really becomes important is when you have ASL translators in your team's meeting. So you may want to pin the ASL translator just for yourself. Or if you want to be inclusive, you may pin the ASL translator for everybody in the call. We have videos if using ASL translators is something that your company does. We're happy to share the video, talks about best practices for setting that up. Companies also use CART captioners, and a CART stands for Communication Access Real-Time Translation. And when you work in an industry that may have specific jargon or language that's unique to your industry, you may want somebody live and in person doing the translation for you. So you would invite the CART captioner to your call, and those captions that the person is typing out show up in the bottom of the screen where your live captions show up today. So I hope that is clear, and I hope you don't hear the dog barking in the background.
It's good.
Awesome. All right. Same thing that is staying along this theme of hearing. So translation in Teams. You may see, for instance, oh, it doesn't let me highlight it there. Hold on. Okay, so translation and transcription, sometimes people get confused as well. And we do have translation capabilities for written text. So if you go to the chat right now, you will see a message that I put in Spanish. And if you hover over the ellipses and choose translate, and you have your language set to English, it will translate it to English. You can have your native language set to one of 30 different languages. And when you set your language, it will translate it into the language of your choice. So I hope you all gave that a try.
Yeah, I'd love to actually pause just to make sure, because I'm very grateful for the people that are here. It's a nice small handful. If you would, give us a thumbs up when you go to that message that Erica just posted. As she said, hit the ellipsis and hit the translate button and give us a thumbs up on that chat if it worked for you. If it doesn't, just let us know that too. But there's one thumbs up. It's a pretty cool feature. I think you get wowed once you see it in action. Thanks, guys.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so we're going to move on to our last section here. Tools, accessibility features for cognitive, neurodiverse, and mobility impairments. So like we start each section, the Windows 11 accessibility features, hit the search, type accessibility. We've talked about already the voice typing and the speech recognition, the Windows key H. But there are some other things that can help and assist people with mobility challenge. The display controls for your monitor. So you may want a really muted background or a really bright background, depending upon what your vision capabilities are. But something that all of us can benefit from is turning on night light. And what this does is it reduces the blue light. And you may have heard that you don't want to be exposed to blue light before bed. It impacts your ability to get a good night's sleep. So I would suggest that you turn on blue light.
Night light.
At the night light.
I
Yes.
use it. I highly recommend it. I just put in the chat. Everyone should have that turned on, in my opinion.
You mentioned at the very beginning of the presentation, one of the first things that we did was sticky keys. And we still have sticky keys, and it's even more feature rich than it was before. But again, if you have mobility challenges and things like Control Alt Delete may be very challenging for you, you can set up one keystroke to activate that. And one other feature inside of here is eye control. So people with severe mobility challenges can use their eyes to navigate through this, through Microsoft Office, Windows, and Teams.
Amazing technology.
Truly. Oh, all right. It's not wanting to, there we go. It's having trouble advancing the slides. User error. Also along the theme of translation, right, is the ability inside of PowerPoint Live to change the words that are right on the screen there. So this is another one that you may want to try at home. Down at the bottom of the deck, you can click on that and you can translate the slides to a different language, or you can change the color contrast as well.
It's just for you, right? You're not changing it for everybody.
Yes. All right, these are some that have really helped me as well. I tend to get very distracted. If you heard me a couple of times stutter and pause or look around because the dog is barking and I'm like, what, you know what? So I get distracted easily. So these features for people with neurodiversity are so helpful. Inside of Teams, before your meeting, you can limit distractions by turning on noise suppression. Well, let me start at the very beginning. So when you go into Teams, the ellipses, you have options to hide the chat bubbles, to mute notifications, and to turn off incoming video. That allows you to focus on the content that's being presented. We talked about pinning just for me, so you can just see what you want to see and who you want to see. Up in the left-hand corner, and try this at home too, there are more ellipses in the left-hand corner where you can focus on content and expand to full screen. So eliminating distractions, eliminating the noise. And if you haven't heard the dog barking continuously throughout this presentation, that's because I have noise suppression on. On the top right ellipses is an option for device settings. When you scroll down in device settings, you will see one for noise suppression. Its default is set to auto. I highly recommend setting it at high. If you haven't heard the dog barking, then you know for sure this is working. All right. Also, one of the most common requests I get from people who have been using Teams for a while is, how do I quiet down the noise, the distractions? There's so many different conversations and Teams I'm a member of, and notifications that I'm getting. And so to help people focus on what's important, I recommend in Teams the conversations and the people that you talk to the most in them. And you do this by right-clicking on either a conversation or a person. Hide those chats. You've been invited to a meeting and you're not attending and you're not really interested. Hide it. But maybe you want to be able to see it and come back to it later. You can mute it as well. And if you just don't ever want to be part of this, you can leave. You can leave a group chat. Maybe it's very noisy. You can leave a team. And so all of these things help you to focus. All right, and just a few keyboard shortcuts you may not know, but Control period will display all of the shortcuts when you are inside of Teams. And if you click inside of Teams right now, not this meeting, but inside of Teams, and you do Control-1, you will notice it goes to whatever action you have in your left-hand rail. Control-2 will bring you to the second item. So you may have activity feed first, and that would be Control-1. You may have chat, that would be Control-2. You may have Teams, and that may be Control-3. So give that a try and really help you to focus and streamline your interactions inside of Teams. We've covered a lot of things here. I'm going to hand this off to Sue to wrap it up, but know that Sue and I are always here to answer any accessibility questions that you have.
Absolutely. We're also looking to provide this presentation to any accessibility officers, whatever we can do to get the word out so that it reaches more people. I think it's important that we also know how we can help others too, as we learn about these new features and spread the word. And we're always looking for feedback. This is probably our 4th time doing this. Each time we do it, it keeps getting better and better. Right now, I'm going to take you through to the end of the conclusion. Here are some support resources for you. We have a disability answer desk that's open 24/7. Anyone can use this link. If you have any questions, if you have someone with low vision, no vision with a special need, start there. We also have an enterprise disability answer desk that is just for our enterprise customers. 24/7 help for accessibility support. And it's not just a phone call, right? We didn't build steps only to this building. We have steps, we have ramps, we have elevators. So in other words, I'm relating this to chat, or you can call ASL for sign language, or an app called Be My Eyes. So that anyone can make a call and get your questions answered 24/7. Here are a bunch of links for learning opportunities. Here at Microsoft, a lot of us have earned what's called our accessibility badge, and we recommend other companies doing this for their employees. Yep. For me, it's what got me started, and it's what truly opened up my eyes and has just lit me on fire. So here's some learning opportunities for you, and then we're also leaving you with a link of tools just that you can hold on to, share as needed. We definitely recommend, if you do have an accessibility officer or anyone that's focused on inclusion and diversity, we would love for you to share this content with them, and hopefully they can help pass it on as well.
Or we'd also be happy to present to your company.
Yes. Eric and our show is open for business. So
we're taking the show on the road.
That's right. Here's a link of a lot of things where we've been in the news, areas where we've just been leaders in this part of technology, and just happy to share that as well if you're interested in reading any of that. Thank you. It's very nice having some people live with us. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks for staying with us.
It was a great job. And so real quick question, the deck, will I be able to provide that with the recording?
Yes.
Awesome. So we'll have all the links. So we'll be putting that up. Probably I'm looking at my schedule. It looks like I'm booked the rest of the day. So that will be tomorrow. That'll go up. And this was a great session. And really, folks, share this internally. I was just thinking as you were going through some of the things, for the visually impaired, I had an aunt and an uncle when I was growing up on my mom's side who were both blind. And, they didn't have any of this tech back then. There was no computers, no nothing. But I will say they both played piano phenomenally.
Wow.
So, so great. This was a great presentation. And, feel free, those of you, who attended today, to share this once that goes up with your folks internally. And thanks again for attending Midday Cafe. With that, this is Mike along with
Sue Vencil.
And Erica Gorman.
But you have a great day. Take care. And as always, ciao.